Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News. You're with me, Sarah Fonseca. But before we head into our stories, first we'll take a look at headlines.
Warrants for arrest issued on parliamentarians Vimal Veeravansa and Jayantha Samaravira. Driver of the luxurious vehicle toppled into Thalavatugoda Oya identified. Sri Lankan delegation for UNHRC 37th session heads for Geneva. Incumbent President Vladimir Putin voted in as president for the next 6 years.
Today, Sri Lanka's Universal Periodic Review under the third cycle of the UPR will be adopted at the 37th session of the Council.
A Ministry of Foreign Affairs media release today states the Sri Lanka delegation to the 37th session includes Minister of Foreign Affairs Tilak Marapana, Minister of Special Assignments Dr. Sara Thamanugama and Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government Faisal Mustafa. The delegation will also include officials from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Attorney General's Department, the Secretariat for Coordinating Reconciliation Mechanisms and Sri Lanka's permanent mission to the UN in Geneva. On the afternoon of the 21st March Wednesday, the Office of the High Commissioner will present a written update to the Council. Speaking to Newsfirst, Sri Lanka's permanent representative to the UN, Ravinath Aryasinghe, said that the report by the UN Commissioner on Sri Lanka's human rights will be taken up for discussions this Wednesday, the 21st of March.
It is a benchmark because it in the broad sense of human rights activities where countries are, so that there is a comparative perspective. You can compare country by country, you can compare issue by issue. And at the review, Sri Lanka was well regarded for the improvements which have been taking place, particularly in recent times. That was well noted and regarded. A written update from the High Commissioner at the end of 1 year, which is now, and a full report at the end of 2 years as to how Sri Lanka has been implementing Resolution 30/1. Now, what comes up on Wednesday is the High Commissioner's report on the implementation of 30/1.
Colombo Chief Magistrate Lal Ranasinghe Pandara has issued warrant on the leader of the National Freedom Front Vimal Veeravansa and parliamentarian Jayantha Samaravira. They are to be arrested and produced before courts. The magistrate issued the order as 2 men failed to appear before court today. They are charged with causing disturbance to the public by staying a protest against the arrival of Prince Zaid bin Riyad Al Hussein in Sri Lanka. Well, with that we move on to more local news. Further details have emerged of the high-performance car that ended up in a Colombo lake. The BMW high-performance sports car ended up in a Colombo lake in the early hours of Saturday morning.
The car is said to have lost control, smashing into 2 other cars before ending up in the lake. The driver had apparently abandoned the car. The Daily FT reported that the new Minister of Highways, Kabir Hashim, acknowledged that the car was driven by a relative. The minister added that the relative had no connection to his political activities. Since our statement details have emerged that the vehicle was in fact registered to Mohammed Hussain and allocated to the number WP-CBB 5005. Motoring experts suggested that the BMW was not insured at the time since it was sporting garage number plates. Prior to this incident, Minister Kabir Hashim was minister in charge of public enterprise, with Sri Lanka Insurance being one of his subjects.
1 person had died in a shooting incident in a messenger street in Colombo at around 10:55 this morning. The victim died after being admitted to the Colombo National Hospital. Police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara said 2 suspects on a motorbike shot at a car with 2 passengers on board. Police have launched an investigation into the incident and suspects are yet to be identified. Well, with that we move on to more local news. The Saudi government has launched a special investigation into the alleged incident where a Sri Lankan woman was shot dead in Saudi Arabia. Sri Lankan ambassador to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Azim Tazim, said a team of officials from the embassy is scheduled to visit the house in Saudi Arabia where she was murdered.
Priyanka Jayashankar, a 42-year-old Sri Lankan who travelled overseas with the intention of establishing a better future for her 3 children, was killed by gunfire last Saturday morning. The Saudi man who was accused of shooting the victim later committed suicide by shooting himself. It is reported that a 30-year-old man was suffering from a psychological disorder. Minister of Foreign Employment Harin Fernando and Deputy Minister Manushanayana Kara visited the victim's house on Saturday.
We are truly disheartened by this tragedy. Both Deputy Minister and myself will intervene in conducting a comprehensive investigation into this incident. Our first step is to try to bring the body back to Sri Lanka. In addition to this, we will also prioritize providing compensation for the family and the children of the victim.
Meanwhile, the women's movement towards freedom convened a media briefing in Colombo yesterday. The problem that we have is the fact that we are deceived every day. We have one thing to say. The government is not there to say, I'm sad. Yesterday, Minister Harin said the law in Saudi Arabia is very tight, and since it follows the Sharia law, it is difficult for them to intervene. The question we have to ask is, why send our women to such a country?
The blood transfusion unit at the Gampha Teaching Hospital was declared open yesterday under the auspices of Minister of Health Dr. Rajitha Senaratne.
During the event, the foundation stone was laid to construct a new laboratory complex and a ward complex. Former Prime Minister D.M. Jayaratne and Deputy Minister of Mahabali Development and Environment Anuradha Jayaratne also attended the event.
We will bring laundry facilities from a foreign company. They have told us that they will renew and hand over equipment to the government. Now there are objections to this as well. How convenient is it now after we got ambulances through ETCA? This year we will begin this ambulance service in the south and the west under the funds of the Indian government. Some said the employees of this ambulance service were not properly trained. However, 21 babies were safely delivered in ambulances. No deaths were reported. Lives for more than 450,000 people have been saved by the ambulance service. In these two provinces alone, 54,000 lives have been saved without spending a cent. It does not matter what view in politics one may have. At the end of the day, the common political vision is to serve the general public. This could be carried out in various ways. One may prefer to wear white attire. One may prefer to wear green attire, a red attire, or wear something in multicolor. There is nothing wrong in this. One can wear whatever the color according to their preferences. But there must be an improvement in the political vision of a politician at all times.
The Budruakanda Mahavidyalaya in Galgamu was temporarily closed today because wasps have built a nest at the school laboratory.
The principal of Budruakanda Mahavidyalaya said the school was temporarily closed to avoid any accidents that may occur as a result of wasps flying around the area. The Galgamu wildlife officials have been notified to remove the wasp hive. Over 1,000 students study at the Budruakanda Mahavidyalaya.